The reason I went to Castelo Branco was to meet my parents. Hello Mum and Dad. Miss you. I am very lucky in the sense that my parents now live out in central Portugal. I'm lucky in the sense that it then made this trip a lot cheaper because obviously I didn't have to pay for accommodation for a few days, which usually is the most expensive part. That and flights is usually the most expensive parts. So by the 21st of March I was in Castelo Branco. I have visited Castelo Branco a few times. It does obviously help that my parents live there and it makes it feel very homely and just, I don't know, I love it there and I'm so glad that my parents, I'm not glad that my parents live there, but I'm glad they chose there to go because it's lovely and I understand it. I understand why people go there. So I spent a few days with my parents, so I slept on the couch. It's not a very nice couch to sleep on. I've got the dog as well, so little Mr. Max. Yeah, it's worth it honestly. Like their house and the land and where they are and Max and them, and it just makes it all worth it. Like I really don't mind sleeping on a couch sometimes. While I was in Castelo Branco, we went up to the fire watch tower that's near them. We also went to this park in Castelo Branco. It was very cool. I love Castelo Branco, as I've said a million times. Love you Mum and Dad. I miss you like crazy, so I'll see you soon. And then a few days later, I got the bus to Lagos, or Lagos. Once again, not sure how you say it. I once again used Rome to Rio to book the buses. I had to get two buses, so I had to get the bus back to Lisbon and then from Lisbon to Lagos, and the Lisbon to Lagos was a very long bus, but I had my Kindle, I had my phone and portable chargers, like I was set. I had naps, it was absolutely fine. I was excited to go to Lagos, so I didn't mind at all. Lagos, I didn't really know what to expect. So Lagos is down south in the Algarve of Portugal. Hot weather, people usually go to that place. Lagos, oh my god, if I could stay there for 3 months, I would. Honestly, I think back on it and it feels like a dream. I stayed in the Orange 3 hostel in Lagos. It was very close to the bus station. I think it maybe took me 10 minutes to walk up a very steep hill with all my backpacks on in the sweltering heat after just being on 2 buses all day. Besides the point, I was very happy to be there. Yeah, it was beautiful, that hostel. It was so much smaller, so much less social than Good Morning Solo Backpackers in Lisbon. That's what I needed by this point. So yeah, my battery was running a bit lower, but I was still just as excited, don't get me wrong. Orange 3 Hostel, it was very central. You could walk to wherever you needed to be, in my terms, within 20 minutes. So yes, there was loads of bathrooms in this hostel, like separate bathrooms. It wasn't communal showers or communal toilets. The Lisbon hostel, it was communal showers and communal toilets, male or female. There was also separate female ones in the Lisbon hostel. It was the little like outdoor space in Orange 3 hostel was very cute. You walk through it to get to like the reception. Beautiful, and it was very nice to sit out there on like an evening. Lots of shade to get out of the direct sun, which was very nice. So for food in Lagos, I went to Lidl and I just did like a little shop in Lidl. I bought like tofu and I made like tofu burgers. I bought fresh fruit because I don't want to skimp out on fresh fruit. I did treat myself to lunch one day. I went to Poke Lagos, so it was a Pokeball place. It was very close to the centre. I think I honestly came across it when I was exploring. I usually do that on like the first or second day to sort of get my bearings. I also went to the beach a lot in Lagos because I was craving the beach by this point. I thought it was lovely. massive beach. It went on for freaking ages and it was beautiful. I sunbathed a lot. I got a bit sunburned. I'm ginger, it's what happens, to be quite honest. I loved it though, the beach was stunning. I treated myself to this cafe that I found on Google called Gomba? Sorry. And I got myself a pastel de nata and I had it was like an almond cake slice thing, which was, oh my god, if I could eat that almond cake again. Okay. Oh yeah. In Lagos as well, I took a big walk along the Ponta da Piedad. I hate that, I don't know how you pronounce it. Oh my god. I think I spent most of the day just walking along. I'll just include like videos and photos and everything because the views were just stunning. The geography I could have looked at for hours itself. There's loads of little beaches and like little coves that you can go down the steps to see. And for this I just took snacks and I just spent the whole day there, to be honest, just walking around. I used Google Maps to get me there from the hostel and I think it took about half an hour to get to like the start of the walk. But yeah, I just spent all day there and I just walked back and I was shattered by the end, but it was worth it. It was absolutely beautiful. For the last day in Lagos, which I was very sad about, the day before I had met a girl in the hostel and I'm pretty sure she was German, and she was like, oh yeah, I've booked through the hostel, I've booked a surf lesson for tomorrow, and I was like, oh my god, I've always wanted to do a surf lesson. I'm just gonna do it. I think it was 40 euros or 50 euros for like transport, lunch, like a vegetarian homemade lunch, all your gear, and the all day surfing pretty much, and then transport back. And I had never surfed before in my life. Always wanted to, but Lagos is more of a surfer town. In comparison to Lisbon, it is definitely more of a surfer place because it actually has beaches. And I almost didn't do it because that was the day that I'm then travelling to Faro, but I did it anyway and I just got a later train to Faro. But yes, I probably looked like an absolute idiot. But the experience with those people, I think I was in a car full of Germans, but the instructor was British, weirdly enough. The surf lessons was like, I booked it through my hostel and it was ran by another hostel, so that was literally around the corner from the hostel that I was staying in. And I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad that I did it. It was a very cool experience. Very scary, don't get me wrong. Open ocean is, I mean, I'm not terrified of it, but I don't know. It's just one of them things, you know, like the unknown. The unknown is always scary. You could even do the surf lessons through all stages. There was sort of two groups. The group that I was in was like full first timers. We ended up going to another beach, which was the beach that I was actually sunbathing on a few days prior, because the waves were a lot smaller, and we actually like managed to do it being first time surfers. We did it for hours and hours and hours, like going in to the water and surfing into the land and like being pushed off through the little wave. It was very fun and I would do it again, honestly. I would 100% do it again. It was a very surreal experience for me, but I'm glad I had the courage to do it. I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but I just think stuff like this, God, stuff like this, like me not even 2 years ago, I've wanted to do this my whole life, from what I remember. God. Why am I like this? So I've always wanted to travel for as long as I can remember. Okay, my camera died and I nearly cried, so we're back. So the reason I got emotional, so I've basically, for as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to travel. When I was actually able to do this 3 weeks, like, me not even 2 years ago never would have thought I would have the courage to do that. So when I think back on it and I realise I did have the courage to do it, and I actually did it, and I had the best time, and I spoke to people I didn't know, I tried things I've never tried before, and I was never scared to do it. Maybe I was a little nervous, but I was never scared to do it, and it just makes me so proud of myself, honestly. It makes me so freaking proud of myself, because since this trip, if I've ever felt myself in a situation where I feel like I would normally be quite nervous around other people or doing something, then I honestly think back on this trip to Portugal and I think, but I did it then, so I can do it now, and I could do it again in the future, because it really wasn't that scary. It just blows my mind, to be quite honest. Yeah, it makes me very proud of myself that I had the courage to do that. So, carrying on. After the surf trip, which I had a great time, I then got the train to Faro, and this was the last stop on my trip. Very sad times, honestly. So yeah, I got a sort of evening train to Faro. I think it was only maybe an hour from Lagos to get the train, and it was very cheap once again. I booked the train tickets again on Rome to Rio. Once I got there, I had booked on Hostelworld. I booked all my hostels on Hostelworld. So yeah, so in Faro I stayed in a hostel called Hostelicious. It was actually a massive hostel, it was freaking huge, and I could walk to it from the train station. I stayed in, I think, in a 10-person dorm. It had communal showers and communal toilets, male and female mixed. The kitchen was massive, which was lovely. Loads of fridge space, loads of freezer space, although I don't think the freezer was working when I was there. And then it had like a common area, it had a dining room area, it had outdoor spaces, and it had a terrace, and I watched the sunset from the terrace, I think, every night that I was there. It's very central. I think everything in Faro, like Lagos, is quite close to each other. So the first day, I just had a walk around the town centre again. Faro, if I'm very honest, I was not as amazed as like Lagos and Castelo Branco and Lisbon. I'm not sure why, to be honest. Maybe I didn't explore enough. I don't know, I don't know. It was just one of those places, but don't get me wrong, I still had a great time. So for the second day, I booked another tour through GetYourGuide. No, actually it wasn't through GetYourGuide, it was through the hostel, to go to the Benagil caves, which are very popular for tourists in the Algarve to go and visit. It's what you'll see online a lot, with like the 2 cave things and then the big hole in the top of the cave. Very interesting experience, this tour, very interesting. And there was 2 lads that worked at the hostel that were also going on the tour as well. We got in the van, and the guide, he was a character. He was very good, honestly. It was a very good trip, and there was a lady, so I sat in the front of the van with this other lady, and she was British and actually lives in Portugal. She lives in the Algarve. However, she just never visited the caves before, so she just decided to do it this one day, so that was very cool. We picked a few more people up from the train station, and then we went on our way. So the tour that I was on, we bodyboarded to it. So for the price, we got all the gear as well. We had wetsuits and boards and flippers, which made us all look absolutely hilarious, considering it was with, what, 7 or 9 other people that I'd never met before. I'm never going to see them again though, am I? So why does it really matter? We went in the caves, and as you would expect it, as it is a very touristy destination, many tourists. It was a very hectic sort of place. Lots of people and companies, big like yachts, I guess. I don't know how you would explain it. Massive boats coming into these caves, and we were like bodyboarding on the side, like, and it's very like technical. So there's like a certain amount of waves coming in. It's like 7 or something waves, and then a massive one comes, and you have to like wait for it obviously before you can sort of get in or get back out. Either way, yeah, it was worth it. It was worth the experience. Probably there for total an hour. We got loads of photos, you know, as tourists do. I was very overwhelmed, but it was very cool, don't get me wrong. After the caves, we got back in the van and we went to the Marina Beach. I'm pretty sure we went to the Marina Beach. There's something called the 7 Hanging Valleys Walk. I think the 7 Hanging Valleys Walk is like with the Marina Beach, because I remember being on a beach because I got to sunbathe for a little bit, but I think the 7 Hanging Valleys, it's like a walk just next to the beach, just up on the top of the cliff. Instead of going down on the beach, it's just on the top of the cliff. That was very cool as well. We got to see like the Love Heart Caves, which apparently is a touristy thing. I've not really seen much about it, but I saw Love Heart. The geography again, once again, of the cliffs is just incredible to me. I think it's very fascinating. By this point I was just loving the sun. It was just the best thing ever. Yeah, sunbathed on the beach for a bit, and then we went back to the van, and I think he then just drove us home. Yeah, very cool experience once again, and I was shattered after that. I think I fell asleep in the van on the way back to the hostel. Lots of sun, and I sunburned my arm because I was on the side of the van where the sunlight was coming through the window. This top of my arm was just sunburned. It could have been worse, don't get me wrong. So yeah, I was very tired that night. After that I just had a shower because I'd been like in the sea and everything. Sat on the rooftop and watched the sunset with a beer and reminisced, because the next day was my last day. As I have explained, I had the best time. I literally had the best time ever. It is an experience that will always feel slightly surreal to me. I really hope that one day I can do this for a lot longer, maybe go for like the 3 months, because with it being in the Schengen zone, I personally can only stay for 3 months, and then I have to leave the Schengen zone for 3 months. I just want to go back. I want to go back so badly. But yes, so my last day. I just took it really chill, honestly, on my last day. I had another walk around the centre, around the town centre. I went and got my souvenirs, new places that I visit. I always like to buy a key ring, so I got my key ring. I actually forgot my key ring from Lisbon, so I need to go back to Lisbon to get a key ring. I ended up getting a surfboard key ring for the Algarve because I did a surf lesson in Lagos, so I thought that was nice. What else did I do? Yeah, just packed my bag because my flight the next day was very early. Just a quick thing to mention, so when I was with my parents, I had sun cream and after sun from them, and then when I stayed in the hostel in Faro, this girl that was leaving, she gave me some shampoo. She gave it to me as like a hand down, so I left that bottle of shampoo, the sun cream and the after sun in the hostel so anybody can use it. I feel like That's a good sort of thing to do with travellers, because you'll always forget something, or you'll run out of something, or you'll buy it and then it's too much liquid to take on an aeroplane when you don't have checked-in luggage. So I think that's a nice thing to do in hostels, honestly. And it makes somebody else's day a little bit easier or a little bit better. So just hand stuff down if you've got it spare. Yeah, I think that is pretty much the trip. So I got the early flight back. It was direct Faro back to Newcastle Airport, and then I was back home by like midday because the flight was so early, so it really wasn't that bad. Yeah, and then I had all day to cry. So, after all that, I hope this was freaking interesting because this is a lot. So yeah, some little tips. Stay with your parents if you can. If they live in another country and you live in a different country to them, go stay with them for a bit. You don't have to pay for accommodation unless they force you. Otherwise, book through Skyscanner, which I booked all my flights through. Rome to Rio, which I booked all my buses and trains through. Hostelworld for all my accommodation. And GetYourGuide for the excursions and the activities and stuff like that. Buy food at a supermarket, like a proper supermarket. Don't go out to eat all the time. Still treat yourself sometimes when you want to, when you can, when you find something that looks really good, especially if it's like traditional to the country that you're in. Do it, why not? You're there to experience the culture, you're there to experience the life there. Do it, but also buy food at a supermarket and cook for yourself. A lot of hostel kitchens are absolutely fine. They've got fridges, they've got freezers. It's no stress at all, honestly. Be open-minded. Just see how it goes. If you're scared, if you're nervous, it's hard to say don't be, because I was sometimes nervous. You're never going to see the people again. If that's what you're stressed about, you're never going to see them again. And just explore. Don't be scared to go alone. You're not alone. You're never going to be alone. There's always going to be somebody that is there with you or in a similar experience, like in a similar space to you. You already have something in common with them. You're already there in that same place that is strange to you. So just be a little bit brave, have a little bit of courage and just do it, because you'll never regret it. In my personal experience, you'll never regret it. It is just amazing. So, with that being said, thank you for watching. If you did get this far, I really appreciate you. Yes, thank you, and here's to the future.